Hello. Today's Wednesday of the 18th week of Ordinary Time. My name is Deacon Tim, and I'm struggling today to get this video put together and posted. We lost power last night, and we still don't have power yet today. So I'm over at my son's house, and hopefully I'll be able to get this video put together and posted for you in just a little bit. I'm trying to figure out how to do all that and move things around. So, hello. Let's take a look at the gospel today, and hopefully there are a couple threads that we can find in the gospel that will be something that we can think about this week as we approach Sunday. A couple things I think that kind of stand out that can apply to all of us. So let me read the gospel. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Then Jesus went from that place and withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a Canaanite woman of that district came and called out, "Have pity on me, Lord, Son of David. My daughter is tormented by a demon." But he did not say a word in answer to her. His disciples came and asked him, "Send her away, for she keeps calling after us." He said in reply, "I was only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But the woman came and did him homage, saying, "Lord, help me." He said in reply, "It is not right to take the food of the children and throw it to the dogs." She said, "Please, Lord, for even the dogs eat the scraps that fall from the table of their masters." Then Jesus said to her in reply, "O woman, great is your faith. Let it be done for you as you wish." And her daughter was healed from that hour. Moving on from there, Jesus walked by the Sea of Galilee, went up on the mountain and sat down. Great crowds came to him, having with them the lame, the blind, the deformed, the mute, and many others. They placed them at his feet, and he cured them. The crowds were amazed when they saw the mute speaking, the deformed made whole, the lame walking, and the blind able to see, and they glorified the God of Israel. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. This gospel gets kind of complicated when we talk about the dogs and the scraps from the table and the children. And I just wanted to pick on one phrase that I read here early in the reading. His reputation as a healer preceded him. Jesus in this gospel is traveling north from Nazareth and the Sea of Galilee, up to an area around Beirut right now, actually. And let's say a prayer for the people of Beirut who have had an enormous catastrophe with a huge explosion. The people of Lebanon are already suffering a great deal with an economic collapse, and they're trying to survive that collapse, and now they have just an enormous explosion that's killed at this point over 100 people. So let's just pray for the folks in Lebanon and the folks here in the Boston area from Lebanon who might have family or relatives that are injured or suffering from this terrible disaster. To get back to the gospel for a minute, Jesus is heading up north and away from the primarily Jewish congregations into an area where there are many more Gentiles. And as Matthew writes about this journey, he mentions that they were in a place with even more Gentiles. But even in this place, Jesus' reputation as a healer had preceded him, had spread out. And I think that's something that we can think about and hold on to this morning. People knew about Jesus. They had heard the stories about his healing and his teachings and how he was different. Maybe they heard him talking about the kingdom and being with him in the kingdom someday. People knew about Jesus. They had heard the stories, and they had heard about these miracles. Well, how'd that happen? There's no internet, we know, no newspapers 2,000 years ago, no telephones, no emails, no text messages, no Twitter. Certainly a much, much different place, but the reputation still spread. Beirut was on a trading route, okay, if you will, a road going to Damascus, the main route between Egypt and Damascus, and it was on the seashore, so it had boats coming and going, I'm sure. So there were a lot of travelers that could pass the story, and that story was a good one to tell, and people enjoyed hearing about it. They passed on the gospel message that Jesus was teaching, but actually the gospel hadn't been written yet, so they were passing on a new story for everyone to listen to. Well, what about us in the context of Jesus' reputation spreading throughout this whole part of the world? What would be our reputation? Do people notice our faith, our belief in Jesus Christ? What priorities we set based on our understanding of the gospel message and how Jesus has asked us to live our lives? When we take a closer look at the woman, she again did not know Jesus, had not met him, probably was not too familiar with Christianity or the new religion that Jesus was teaching. But she believed, she had faith that Jesus could save her daughter from the demons. She had placed her hopes in Jesus, sight unseen, without reservation, and at the risk of rebuke by her friends and by the apostles. Can we say we would do that kind of thing? Would we have that humility and that faith and that determination? On the other side of it, on Jesus' side, do we have a calming personality, a calming presence with people? Would we listen to someone calling out to us again and again for help, for just a minute of our time? Matthew writes 3 times that he could go ahead and there were 3 pleas that are recorded in this reading, but we can assume that the woman called out more often than that because the apostles and disciples, they had grown tired of her cries and actually asked Jesus to ask her to leave. But even after she was rebuked and compared to dogs, she persisted and Jesus listened. This is a hard story to listen to, but maybe it would be easier for us to understand if we had been there, if we were in the crowd, if we were understanding more fully the culture of the times. Let me pull 2 threads out here for us to look at before we go. The first one is the Canaanite woman, the mother, the parent, the woman who had a deep love for her daughter and was persistent. She never gave up hope that she could find help to cure her. The Canaanite woman's hope and faith is a model for all of us. And the other thread is Jesus' reputation as a healer, a comforter, a reputation that spread out of his own country, along the trading routes, and into the neighborhoods, and into the homes of the villages along the way. Thousands of years before the internet, this reputation was built by word of mouth in a relatively short period of time. Today, our own reputation can go viral in an afternoon. So, what reputation do we project? One of faith and love and service, and interfaith fellowship, and racial equity? What do we think? Do people want to talk to us to find help or comfort or be in our presence? Thank you very much for joining me today. Sorry today's video is going to get out there a little bit late, but I hope you take a few minutes to listen to it. On Sunday, there'll be an adult video. The Catholic Relief Services Global Fellows have asked all of us preachers, if you will, around the country to put together a video sermon, a video virtual homily on a certain date, and my date was this coming Sunday. So I'll post that along with the children's video on the. I'll send it via Constant Contact, and I'll also try to post it on the website and send it out via Facebook. Just so you know, on Tuesday nights at 5 o'clock, we have a committee that gets together weekly to talk about the family that we're supporting from Honduras that's living in Dorchester. They're trying to settle in and they're trying to find jobs. We have a 21-year-old male who only speaks Spanish but is learning English and trying to get his high school GED. But he's looking for a job, and we have his sister who's going to be a freshman in high school, and also his mother who's looking for a job as best she can. So they need a job to pay for the rent. In the meantime, donations from some in our parish and some outside have helped to offset part of that rent. So thank you very much for your generosity. On Thursday evenings at 8 o'clock, we're going to start a Vine and the Branches book club, and we're going to read for the first time White Fragility. We're going to go ahead and put that together, and hopefully you'll be able to join us for that. If you have any questions, call the rectory. The information should be in the bulletin. God bless. Thank you. Take care.